Major intervals. An interval is a distance between two pitches, and these are really important in music because they are essentially the building blocks for scales, chords, and melodies. So on a micro level, intervals are what hold musical structures together. In this video, we're going to focus in on the major intervals, which are the major second, major third, major fourth, which is a perfect fourth, major fifth, a perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, and a major eighth, which is an octave. Now these intervals that I just played, if played in succession, form the major scale. So in order to build an interval, I have to start on a root. C was my root here. It's also the tonal center, or in terms of numbers, it would be 1. But I could also start constructing intervals from any one of the 12 notes. So if I started on G, that's now my root. So to create a major second, I go here, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, and octave. On A, so now let's have a look at the intervals individually. I'm going to be using the term half step, which is the smallest possible distance that I can travel on the piano. And if I was to play 2 half steps, I get a whole step. A half step is a semitone and a whole step is a tone. First we have the major second, which is created by moving 2 half steps from the root. And because the notes are so close together, it has quite a clustery, slightly tense sound. And if I was to create that anywhere else, I could just move 2 half steps from any root. 1, 2, major second, from here, 1, 2, major second. And a song to help you remember the sound of it would be Happy Birthday. So the initial intervals are Happy Birthday, and here, Happy Birthday, Happy Birthday. So I always think it's important to have song references because this is going to help you to learn them more easily. Next we have the major third, which is created by moving 4 half steps from the root. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the sound of the major third is quite bright and triumphant, quite happy sounding. If I was to create it here, just move 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And a song to help you remember it is the initial intervals of Kumbaya, Kumbaya, Kumbaya. Next we have a major fourth, a perfect fourth, and this is created by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half steps from the root. And this sound is quite stable, it's quite grounding, I would say, and hopeful. If I was to create that somewhere else, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're starting on A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a song to help you remember its sound would be Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace, Amazing Grace, and so on. Next we have a perfect fifth, which is constructed by moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 half steps from the root. And its sound is quite grounding, stable, and it's also a power chord. So you might have heard something like this on guitar. So they're all examples of a perfect fifth. The song I used to remember this would be Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis. So we have Wise men say only fools rush in. Next, a major sixth. So this is created by moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 half steps from the root. And I think this is a little bit more ambiguous. It sounds quite melancholic to me, but also quite light and delicate. And if I was to create that here on a G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I was to do on A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And here we see an example of our major interval being on a black note. So it's not always the case that the major intervals are always white notes. It depends again on the interval. So if we land 9 half steps away, sometimes it will be on a black note, sometimes a white note, but it's to do with the interval rather than the note itself. A song to help you remember the sound of the major six would be My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. My Bonnie lies over the ocean. So that's the song I use for that interval. Next, we have a major seventh, which is constructed by moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 half steps from the root. And this sound has I think it's quite peaceful, especially if it's filled out a little bit. But I do think it has a slight dissonant sound too, because if I put that B here, they would be right next to each other and it would create a clashing sound. But when they're spread out a little bit more, it gives a more open sound, obviously. Now if I was to create that on G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. On A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The song I used to remember this is Moon River, when Audrey Hepburn sings, my huckleberry friend, my huckleberry friend, and so on. Our last major interval is the octave, a major eighth, and this is created by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 half steps from the root. And this makes sense because, again, as I was saying, we have 12 notes on the piano and then it just starts repeating. So, of course, that makes sense. To me, the octave sounds very stable and resolute. And for that reason, it's used a lot at the endings of songs, or also to add more depth in the lower registers. The octave is quite easy to locate because you're just going up to the next note of the same kind. So even if you're on G, it's quite easy to find the octave. Of course, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but it is a bit more obvious than the other ones, I would say. And also, here we have it on an A. A song that I would use to help remember this would be Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So just at the beginning, you have somewhere over the rainbow. So just that somewhere, that's an easy way of referencing that. So those are major intervals up as far as an octave. Something worth noting is that your interval is always constructed on the lowest note. So if you hear this, you're always referencing the lowest note to build the interval upon. If I inverted that and I put that G down here, for example, that changes the interval. As you can see above, it went from C perfect fifth to G perfect fourth. So even though these notes are the same, the distance in between them is different. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 half steps, whereas here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 half steps. So the interval is always determined by the actual distance in between rather than the note. To practice these intervals, I would recommend starting at C and constructing major seconds from there. So moving 2 half steps and then just moving up chromatically. And getting used to the sound as you're going. The same thing applies for the major third. 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps from the root. And then you can keep on going, practicing in that manner, moving up chromatically. What you can also do that will really help to improve your ear is just say, start on C and to pitch a major second from this root. So 1, 1, 2, 1, happy birthday, and then check to see if you're right. Happy birthday, and then pick random notes to see if you can build the interval from different roots. Happy birthday, here, happy birthday, and that would also be great practice.